Welcome to The Third Chair, a show about real people, real stories, real life. And here are your hosts for The Third Chair, Peter Grigg and Doug Bazeski.
Hey, Doug, welcome back to the continued journeys of the episodes of The Third Chair.
Yeah, I saw the first one of these, and it looked great. But the guest was pretty quiet. It seemed like you and I had to do a lot of the talking.
Yeah, it was sort of a spiritual guest.
That's right.
They were here in spirit. Yeah, well, we are super excited to continue to show some of the clips and exciting scenes from many episodes over this first year. Talking about Trent at the very end of the last segment, but before we talk about his episode, the question came up about what famous people we've met.
And I met Michael Rosioni.
From the 1980 U.S. Miracle on Ice hockey
scored
team.
The winning goal against the Russians, was the team captain.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I was actually in class with another player on the team, Dave Christensen.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Dave Christian.
You know, for a guy that...
Christensen, it was Christian.
I mean, that's really amazing for several reasons, the least of which is that you're a baseball guy. You really like baseball.
I grew up in a hockey.
Yeah, but you grew up in a hocky territory. Yeah, North Dakota.
Absolutely. And my school was hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, the other schools, the sports were there, but they were secondary. I mean, we sometimes did well in some of those, but...
Sure.
I mean, people lived and died with the hockey team.
Well, and so then you challenged me, who have I met? What powerful people have I met? Well, I met Senator Rick Santorum. He came and gave a talk here in town. I met... who else have I met? I haven't met any other major politicians, I don't think. I was in an extra to film Our Souls at Night, and even though I was not allowed to talk to, look at, or take their picture, I stood beside Robert Redford and Jane Fonda for the movie Our Souls at Night. And in fact, my forehead, a piece of my forehead, got into the trailer.
Yeah,
that was it.
Not in the movie itself.
Not in the movie itself, yeah. So that about taps out all
You did better than I did. I did talk to young Sheldon, though.
That's good, young Sheldon.
But I don't know what his real name is.
But
he was in the movie, and it was the end of the day, and he was going 100 miles an hour while the rest of us just wanted to go home.
I met Bobby Hull, very famous hockey player for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Very famous. He's one of the, I would say, at least 10 greatest hockey players of all time.
Sure, he had like a 100-mile-an-hour slap shot.
Yeah.
And his nickname was the Golden Jet because he could really skate fast.
I saw a film of him the other day, skating, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know he was that fast until I just saw this film.
And so people asked him, how did he get in shape for the hockey season? And the answer, he had a farm in Canada, and he said he baled hay. He was out there with the pitchfork, hitting and throwing large bales of hay. And that was his aerobic and resistance workout.
But that's what they used to do. People had jobs in the off season, and a lot of them, the guy said, well, how do you stay in shape? Like ball players before the 1950s, and they said, a lot of them, they said, oh, I delivered ice. And that's when you didn't have ice makers. I mean, you didn't have freezers, and you delivered big
blocks of ice with those giant tongues. And
they were heavy.
Carry them,
you had to be strong to do them. And so that's how they got there. They made money because they didn't make enough at the ball player to take the winters off. So they made money, and they stayed in shape.
Well, there was a period of time when even hockey players didn't make huge,
Baseball
salaries.
players.
Yeah,
I mean, all of them.
They played for the love of the game. They got a modest salary.
Well, they got more than the average person, but
right. But it wasn't like getting 100 million over 4 years or.
Yeah,
whatever,
I mean, it wasn't like today where you can retire on that. I mean, if you play your style, if you play it smart,
Mm-hmm.
They had to work in the off season.
Sure. Well, it's my hope that we're going to have like 450 million views, and then we will not have to work in the off season. All we'll have to do is just have a season of filming the podcast.
Yeah.
But until then, we go to our day jobs. So, Trent Langhofer,
he's been waiting 6 minutes to hear about himself.
Yeah, he does a lot of work with helping people overcome addiction as well as stressed marriages, marital problems. He works in town at Colorado Christian University, I believe. He has an office there. I think that's. I don't think I'm confusing him with somebody. And as I mentioned, he was involved with the Dynasty people.
And that's where the airport thing came up, because I saw two of the Dynasty people, not of the family itself, but two of the regulars or semi-regulars on the show at the airport one day. It was a small restaurant in the Houston airport, and we were eating there, and they sat at a table near us, a couple of them. One of them had his wife there, and it was like, oh my gosh. But they had on their Duck Dynasty uniforms.
That's cool. Yeah. And Trent also shared some of his personal. He got heavily involved with alcohol and drugs, like as a kid, like 10 or 12.
Yeah, a lot of our guests started young.
And I think he had a DUI or something. He had some run-in with the law. I might have that wrong. Trent, I'm not trying to be scandalous or anything, but again, another person who overcame a lot and really has a heart to help people.
And then he trained one day with all the football players.
Oh, don't remember who it was. John Elway?
He played for the Broncos as a quarterback.
Elway? Not Elway.
Oh, what is his name?
We'll have to figure that out after the break.
We'll tell you after the break.
Yeah. Here's a taste of that episode. Welcome back to The Third Chair with our guest, Dr. Trent Langhofer.
That's it.
Nice. German.
That's right, man.
German is Wiener Schnitzel and sauerkraut.
That's it, Peter.
With mustard.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Mustard.
That's exactly right, gentlemen. You got it.
Well, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Really glad to be here.
I understand you know some of the people in Duck Dynasty. We used to watch that all the time. What was that like?
Yeah, Doug. So I ended up moving to Northeast Louisiana about 10 years ago and started attending a wonderful church, Whites Ferry Road Church. And when I got there, the story is, and this is kind of an interesting segue into how I got to know these guys and what these guys are like. My family and I are from the Midwest. We had never really spent any time in the Deep South.
What part of
Wichita, Kansas is where I'm originally from. Yeah.
Great barbecue.
Yeah, good barbecue and a lot of wind and a lot of airplanes and not a whole lot else. Yeah, that's right.
I was in the plains just further north in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Yeah, so just not a lot.
Odd tornado?
Yeah, or two. Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So walking into a church in Northeast Louisiana, we didn't know what to expect. I was wearing a suit and a tie, my wife in a dress. We had our kids really dressed up. And Whites Ferry Road had an annual celebration of the Robertson family's ministry, which is building duck calls and going duck hunting with people and sharing the gospel in the duck blind. And so one time a year, everybody in the church dressed in camouflage, face paint, duck calls, full beards, and people from all over the U.S. would attend. Wow. And so here comes some Midwesterners, right, walking into this church dressed in their Sunday best, and everybody in the congregation is head to toe, including face paint, full-on camouflage. And I looked at my wife and said, honey, we are not in Kansas anymore, which was certainly true. So we fell in love with the church, man. It's a front lines oriented church that just really loves people, really, really loves Jesus. And so we stuck and got to know the Robertsons, and these are some of the most wonderful, caring, compassionate, Christ-centered people on the planet. The show did not change these guys at all.
Oh,
they're
nice
living
to
in the
hear.
same homes that they were living in, driving the same trucks and doing the same kind of stuff, having people over to their house and cooking burgers and talking about Jesus. So just to see something as significant as a nationally recognized television show happen to a family like this just helped me kind of have continued faith in the American system, so to speak. So yeah, these guys are wonderful, and it was wild. I'd be preaching a sermon, and there's an A&E film crew in the church doing some shoot for the show. So the guys are just wonderful. They're still some of my closest friends today, and just wild. I was actually on an episode of Duck Dynasty, and don't normally get nervous speaking or doing things with media, and that was probably the most nervous I've ever been in my life when I kind of came onto the set and the director said, "All right, roll." It felt like there were microphones and lights and people that just came out of the woodwork.
Let's take a break. And then we had Joanie Shepherd on, and Joanie shared a very powerful story. She's an advocate for helping women that are suffering after effects of abortion,
And not only that, but also giving more help before making that decision. She kind of felt she was in a vacuum when she got abortions.
Yeah, I mean, because traditionally when people think of church people and abortion, they think of the political arena, and her argument was that she was saying, I think that whether a young lady has made a mistake or not, she has a child, and yet the church, the broad church, not one denomination, wasn't doing enough to really kind of live the, okay, we really do believe in pro-life. We'll help you. We won't tar and feather you. We're not gonna give you a or ignore you, or give you a scarlet letter.
Yeah, here you are.
Yeah, you're
go away.
Yeah, you're discard you.
Keep the child. Go away.
She has a nonprofit that she's the executive director for called Hope and Grace International.
Yeah,
and that's on the website, and has done some great work in that regards.
Yeah, and that's a good cause.
Here's a taste of that episode. Welcome welcome to the third chair with our special guest, Joanie Shepherd. Thanks for being here, Joanie.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here.
Well, you wear many hats. Let's start with your author hat.
Okay.
I understand you've written a couple of books. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first book that I wrote is called Why Can't We Say the A Word in Church? Overcoming Our Dirtiest Secret with Hope and Grace.
The A word. What A word would that be? Like, I can think of several that would not be allowed in church.
Yeah, that does,
Nervous with that question.
does bring a few chuckles and questions, but it's the word abortion.
Abortion. Okay. And so, is this a research of the general area, or is this more personal stories, or what? Tell me about that book. What's that composed of?
Well, it's some of both. The book encompasses the scenario, the dilemma, and the remedy for overcoming abortion. So there's the scenario of, how many abortions happen in the United States, in the world, how many abortions happen among Christianity. And the effects of abortion, which is not discussed a whole lot. We talk about the death of babies, and that's what much of the pro-life movement is based on. But this book discusses mainly the effects that it has on the living victims.
Okay.
And then the dilemma of why it's so difficult to discuss in the church, and then the remedy for how we overcome that, because it's such a difficult subject that most pastors and most churches don't talk about it because they don't know how.
Sure. That, and then so I assume with the book you do some public speaking with that.
Certainly.
Do you bring like copies of the book if you go?
I do.
Good. I think
do.
you should.
Yes.
No, that's
yes.
wise. Do you self-publish the book? Or was
it's published through Amazon.
It's Amazon. Okay.
And so, it's self-published through them. And it's also available on Kindle Unlimited, as well as, for sale individually.
Now, is there, so that's how people can buy it. Are there any graphic pictures in it or anything like
Absolutely not.
Okay,
yeah.
so there's nothing that if you're not from medical background you'd look at and it'd be shocking.
Correct, right. Because that's one of the things that trigger people who have had abortions. And it can be very, very difficult to view those pictures.
So, the quarterback, Tim Tebow. How could we forget Tim Tebow?
Well, he did play for Denver for a while, but then he got shuffled around and tried baseball. Was he successful in baseball?
He was successful staying in Double A. I don't know what the.
Okay, well, I mean,
He
lots of people never make Double A.
He might have done a little better than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, no, Michael. So the person who played two sports, who do you think did the best overall? Do you think it'd be Bo Jackson in terms of?
Bo Jackson, but Deion Sanders was close. Oh, and there's another guy. He was really good in both.
But Bo Jackson never made it big in the NFL. Wasn't he like a great college runner? But no, NFL was like
he had potential. The only thing is he got hurt.
So common.
But Deion Sanders, it was one of the best cover men of all time. So one of the best cornerbacks of all time in the NFL. And he could play baseball not as well as Bo Jackson, or it never came out as well as Bo Jackson, but he had his moments playing baseball. I just saw a special on him. He was in the playoffs with the Braves, and he went and played a football game on Sunday with the Falcons, and then came back to play with the Braves that night.
That's amazing.
And he didn't get to play in the game that night.
But he was there.
He was there, and
wow.
I mean, it's amazing, but some of the Braves fans didn't like it. some of the announcers were very judgmental about them, and I thought they made too big of a deal out of it.
Yeah, and they probably get paid too much money for sitting on their fat rears.
Oh, right.
Did we catch that?
Now we're going to talk.
Yeah, now we're going to finish up. Ralph Giordano, we met him from the Pikes Peak Film Festival, Film Forum, whatever it's called, where local filmmakers in Colorado Springs and sometimes as far as Denver and the surrounding area would show their films.
And three of the guys has helped with us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's helped Rob Bowen,
Mm-hmm.
and he's helped.
Yeah.
Now we just talked about him.
Joe Black.
Joe Black.
Yeah. He's has mentored a lot of people, helped a lot of people.
Oh yeah, a lot of people in this town. He's done a lot for the city of Colorado Springs.
And he's a superb photographer. I think he has a website where he has like some fantastic pictures. Here's a taste of that episode. Well, we're here with our special guest, Ralph Giordano. Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We are so excited to have you because from the time we were a production company, just itty-bitty babies learning, we were involved with your organization, the Pikes Peak Film Festival, and got some constructive criticism and help and some guidance along the way. For that, we're very grateful, and thank you for showing up.
Well, thank you. And hopefully the advice wasn't only from me, but from fellow filmmakers as
It
well.
was really good. It was a fantastic network. So that's a good place to start.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the Pike
The Peak Film Forum.
Peak Film Forum.
Yeah.
I have a company called Pikes Peak Recovery Coaching. That's I'm kind of
Well, and it's interesting because everybody thinks that Pikes Peak, we should go with it, but it's just Peak Film Forum.
Peak, yeah.
But everybody calls it Pikes Peak Film Forum, but it's really Peak Film Forum.
So there's an interesting history there,
It is, yeah.
and I know as young people in the field, we were I'm 60, but newbies.
We're still young.
Yeah, we were invited in.
because
We're young at heart, right? Yeah.
And so tell us about that. I know you had a hand in its founding, and
Yes.
tell us what it's all about.
Well, 8 years ago, because our 8-year anniversary is coming up in April 2021. So 8 years ago, I was approached by Jamie Hastings, who is a filmmaker and a producer here in town. Actually, she's an Heartland Emmy Award-winning producer. And she had said, Ralph, I was working with her on several projects through the Pikes Peak Library District. She says, Ralph, I want to start a film networking group. Would you be interested? And I said, sure, just let me know what you need and whatever. And so we had a couple of meetings beforehand, and we started it, and we started it together with a few other people. And gradually, as the months went on, everybody got like really busy and hectic, including Jamie. And she said, Ralph, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to hand this over to you if you want it. And I was like, well, okay. You know, I'm in it now. I might as well. And here I am 8 years later. And it was the best thing she ever did for me was to convince me to co-found a group with her and then hand it over to me because it became a big part of my life. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, my understanding was before all the COVID stuff hit, the group was meeting about once a month.
Once a month. We always met the second Wednesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And we had moved to a new home, to Cottonwood Center for the Arts. We were very excited about that because, well, it's a haven for artists, all
Of course,
artists.
yes.
It's a gallery. And they had this little theater upstairs for 75 people that fit 75 people, which is just perfect for us, really. And we really were just getting started when you think about it. We were there just about a year before COVID hit. And so, yeah, it's just interesting how that happened. Just shut everybody down, not only the forum.
Of course.
Yeah, so
Of course, but there's something about getting together,
that's
enjoying the films with popcorn,
That's it.
and watching submissions that were from people that were just beginning to learn the craft, and
Right.
it showed, but
Correct.
the experts would still clap and cheer on.
And
which
then
was
maybe
great.
talk to the filmmakers later on if they so wanted to. So that's what we're missing. So we're still
Yeah.
doing it online on our Facebook page. We'll once a month show that. Although we're going to a quarterly basis now. So we're once a quarter just because, well, last year a lot of people weren't making films. So, they tried. So to catch up. So we figured let's just do it once a quarter and see what we get.
Let's take a break. Doug, most of our viewers and followers know that our new episodes come out on YouTube on Thursday nights.
Right.
But we have a new announcement about the third chair.
Exciting announcement.
Starting with the older episodes, they're now going to be on a TV channel.
Yes, very exciting.
So the TV channel is with the Pikes Peak Library District, Comcast Channel 17 here in Colorado Springs. And I believe the episodes are going to play at 7 o'clock at night, but they may cycle them, and who knows, maybe they'll be on at 2 or 3 in the morning. So if you're in Colorado Springs and you have Comcast and access to Channel 17, you're able to watch The Third Chair. The episodes are edited a little bit shorter. Some of the commercials are taken out on TV.
It should be exciting.
Yeah, I can finally tell my friends I'm really on TV.
We could tell them we're TV stars.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we had on Dr. Josh Kramer, a friend of ours that we've known for years and years and years.
You know them.
Oh, yeah, I've known him. Yeah,
But it is a great
interesting
guy.
story. He is involved in training clinical psychologists, and he was in the military, and he tells the story
Military
on his
intelligence.
Yeah, yeah, he was good. Supposed to learn to speak Korean. He ends up getting Russian, and
Oh, you traded for her.
Yeah, he traded. Yeah,
Because the other guy wanted to marry a Korean woman.
that was great. Yeah,
That's a great story in itself.
that's a great story in itself. And then he, I don't know, he ran into like Russian special forces troops, and things were tense until his unit and the special forces unit got in a snowball fight.
I know. So he's fought the Russians, but not.
Yeah, he's fought the Russians. Yeah.
Well, with snowballs, not with the weapons. It's a great story.
And some of the things that I thought he was doing that was remarkable is talking about how the two things about the Ukraine, how the military veterans are treated so horribly by society in the Ukraine, and they don't get the mental health aftercare that they need. But then he was also saying how dehumanized certain parts of the population. I remember the Down syndrome people wouldn't even be issued a social security card like they're a human being.
Yeah.
And so he had some pretty intense stories to tell about that.
The neat thing too is he volunteers to go there and helps them business wise and has taught classes and I mean, so this is one of those guys who's always on the go.
And he was very much into not Americans going and doing the teaching and getting the credit. He was very much, let's train the locals so that they get the credit.
Train the
trainer.
That's what we had a lot of ours, because we had offices all over the country, so we'd have people go in and they take the lesson and they were supposed to train us, which is kind of difficult because after one lesson you're supposed to do training, but there's always some follow-up question some smart person's going to ask, and you're like, let me call on that.
Sure.
But he's helping them as much as probably you can help.
So that's a real fascinating episode. Here's a taste of that episode.
So Josh, I'll give you an easy one to start with.
Okay.
Where'd you go to college?
So I went to Mankato State University in Minnesota. Yeah. The big town on Little House on the Prairie. When Pa loaded up the wagon,
So
they went to Mankato. That's what we were known for.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Little House on the Prairie.
That's right. That's right.
she wrote a lot of books.
She did. That she did. So yeah, it switched. I was the last graduating class for Mankato State. It went to Minnesota State at Mankato after I graduated.
Oh,
so.
like every other college is kind of doing that now.
Exactly. Yeah, they took the trend.
So I heard you got a BS in recreation. So is your favorite show Parks and Rec?
Actually, yeah. I've watched that show and I related a lot. That was a lot of my life before I transitioned into other things.
You kind of look like Chris. Was it Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been told that.
Yeah. You could have been the star of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, in another life.
Sliding down into the slime. Huh?
That's right. Yeah, so that's what I started in. I was ready to take the world by storm. I was the weed inspector for the city of Mankato right out of college.
Oh, wow. Must be fun.
I checked people's noxious weeds, and we did aerial photography actually for property ownership. It was kind of interesting. And I had to report to City Hall, the bad people that let their weeds grow. So back in the day, we were fairly antiquated in how we did that, but several incidents there was a lot of college party houses, so we'd show up and I'm with the city. I'm here about the weeds, and we had this one, the first guy that I went to.
That
actually,
could be interpreted a couple of different ways.
Yeah. He just had this look on his face, this stupefied look, and he was like, and then Tom, the guy that was training me, he's like, no, the weeds in your yard, and he's like, oh, I thought you meant my weed. No, you're good.
Yeah, that job description in modern day Colorado could be very, very different.
No, it's legal, man.
That's right.
Yeah. Yes.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, gotta love it.
Yep.
So then you later obtained a master's and a PhD. Tell us about those two degrees.
Yeah, it's quite the shift vocationally for me. So Parks and Rec, and the degree was actually natural resource management. So like my internship was at a city park department mowing grass, literally.
Oh, wow.
Like I got a degree in mowing grass. It's more than that, turf management, science, and stuff like that.
I worked for the city when I was in college, and so I mowed grass before I got my degree.
Yeah, that's right. Support that process.
Then we had Josh Shepherd on, husband of Joanie Shepherd, who was on a few episodes beforehand. And what I recall about his episode that was fascinating was he spent some time in the Portland, Oregon rescue mission.
Rescue, yes.
He came in as like a contract hire to fix computers, and he ends up staying
as a counselor
and
teaching him computers.
teaching business.
Yeah.
So when people got over addiction and that sort of thing, helping them develop skills to start their own business. Because
I saw it was some interesting observations he made. I mean, he said they were very helpful to one another, and they weren't that critical, and it was a good environment that people set up. I mean, not the teachers, it was the homeless people working together, trying to
help each other, hold each other accountable. He was really impressed with the community in that regard.
He said they had a real good community, at least in that homeless rescue mission.
And in town, he'd been involved with some charter schools that were promoting entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah.
He was a big believer in that, perhaps as a culture, kids are being exposed too much to socialism and not enough with the idea, you need to get out and work, and it's okay to create your own business. You don't have to work for the man or, whatever.
And I think there's a lot of that happening. I mean, COVID.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of people who are having their small businesses, and they're kind of holding back and seeing how they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of them will be really successful, and there'll be some changes, maybe in the country as a whole, with some of these ideas. People are coming up because they were at home for all that time.
Yeah, which reminds us, we're wondering here at 3 Men and a Duck Entertainment whether we should be shipping nuts or chocolates. So let us know in the comments or send us an email if you want us to get into the shipping nuts business.
And we don't need our producer, Josh.
Pineapples. We're going to ship pineapples.
That's right.
From Hawaii. In a big,
who's going to go get them?
Yeah, in a big box with a giant picture of our producer on the side, because he never shows his face because he does the editing.
One of the people probably wonder why two-part episodes, we always wear the same clothes. It's just, I guess, to make the guest to feel more comfortable to see us in familiar clothing a week later.
Yeah, I need to sell more pineapples because that's all the clothes I have.
Well, we both got the
the
squares
flag,
today. Dark squares.
Yeah, we both got the memo. And so John's was a fascinating episode. Here's a taste of that episode. Welcome to another episode of the third chair. Third chair with our special guest, Josh Shepherd. John, thank you for being here with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate you taking the time to come on down. And John has worn many hats over the years, including the one he's wearing now, and we're going to find all about that. And if you are watching tonight and you are saying to yourself, I have seen this man before, somewhere, some newspaper, it's true, and I'm not talking about the mugshot section. And so we will disclose that later on. In the meantime, welcome, John, and we're going to start it off with Doug asking you a few questions.
Thanks, Doug.
Hi. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
You told me a story about you were working at a rescue mission in Oregon, and that story really hit me. Could you tell that story to the audience here?
Sure. There's a little backstory to that. I didn't just land at a rescue mission out of nowhere, and so there was a little bit of...
You just showed up one day, right?
Well, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. God never just, he does strange things that are inexplicable, but there's usually a path. And there was one for me. I ended up volunteering, like a lot of people do, just going to the rescue mission one day, and it was after a period of kind of real, traumatic. It was right after 9/11. The backstory there had to do with the business it was my business I had founded and had been running for several years, and it was in the tech sector, and 9/11 killed that sector literally overnight.
Oh.
And so a bit of a personal awakening. God kind of used that as a 2x4 upside the head to say, okay, you've been doing this. It's time for you and I to have a conversation about what I want you to be doing. And again, so it was in that time in my life. It would have been typical of call it a midlife crisis, but this was really a midlife spiritual intervention that God took on my behalf to say, you've been doing your own thing, but I've got some other ideas, and so we need to sit down and talk. And what he did was took away my business, in a very dramatic fashion, caused me to have to rethink basically everything.
What am I going to do with my life?
Including spiritually. And again, I grew up in the church, literally. They call missionary kids MKs and preachers' kid PKs. Well, I have all the Ks.
Let's take a break. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Grigg, a life and recovery coach with Pike's Peak Recovery Coaching. I've had the pleasure and privilege of helping people for over 25 years. I want to hear your story, support and encourage you while we partner together to help you reach your goals. I can help you. I am certain I can help you. I can be your guide, role model, resource person, and help you get results. What's my coaching frameworks? I'm an eclectic coach drawing from a variety of disciplines and frameworks with evidence-based proven methods. What would you like to work on? Some popular areas are goal setting and attainment, building and maintaining motivation, finding purpose, personal development, recovery from drug and alcohol addiction problems, health and wellness, life planning, athletic and creative artist performance enhancement, maybe something else. Just ask me. I would love to help you, You can find my services on Fiverr.com. Then after that we had Rob Decaron, who has also a story of some real serious drug addiction issues. Tried to kill himself, and he jumped out a window.
Well, him and a more recent guest, I don't think we shown this episode, or maybe the first one was this last week, but a more recent guest, both of them prayed for God for help, and they both got arrested after they prayed. And you know what?
Yeah.
They said that was the right answer to their prayer.
It's not what they expected.
It wasn't what they expected, but they now see, oh, was the answer to our prayer.
Yeah, that was Jamie's episode. He woke up and he hurt his foot and he got arrested and he went to jail. Yeah. Well, Rob was serious about killing himself, and he jumped out the window, and apparently there was some part sticking out that kind of hit him and threw him off course, and so he still did fall and fracture his back, but he didn't manage to kill himself. And then he gets arrested while he's in the hospital. Here's a taste of that episode. Welcome to the Third Chair with our special guest, Rob Decker. Rob, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
We so appreciate it. And as we mentioned in the intro, you wear a number of hats, including being a personal trainer. And I see you've got your Kingdom Fit Faith and Training shirt on. Tell us about that.
Kingdom Fit. So Kingdom Fit came out of wanting to bring my faith and my experiences to my own product or my own gym, right? When I first moved out here from California about 3 years ago, I was working at Lifetime Fitness, but it was already kind of pressed on my heart that I was going to go off and do my own thing. And so 8 months into that job, I was like, we're about 2 months out from having our daughter, Gianna. And this was a bold move. And one day Caleb came home, Caleb was at home, and he wanted to go play baseball with me. And I was just so exhausted from these 40-hour work weeks over at Lifetime Fitness that I looked at my wife and I said, it's time for Kingdom Fit. It's time to go do our own thing now. Because this had just started out of my garage. I'd had a bunch of equipment donated to me, and my heart was to train from my home, to raise my family, to be close to them, and to be able to do things my way with all my experiences and education. And so my son looks at me and he's like, Dad, I want to go play baseball, but like a 3-year-old would, or a 2-year-old would say it. And I just remember being so exhausted, and I just told my wife, I said, this is it. I'm done with Lifetime Fitness, and it's time to start Kingdom Fit. And so put in my 2-week notice the next day, and Kingdom Fit was a go.
So this wasn't a knock on Lifetime Fitness. This was, man, I'm reaching my potential, my dream, time to do this for my family kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, the truth was I've been a trainer for almost all my life, and eventually it's just like, I wanted to be my own boss and make my own money and not have to worry about this. And, you have different worries when you're on your own, different challenges. But, I just wanted my own thing, something that I could create where I didn't have to hold back from being myself and my beliefs. And there's certain things that I do within my fitness as far as like muscle pain relief and trigger point. And there's some stuff that, a normal gym may frown on because they have areas in that gym that do those kind of things and they get paid for those things. But because I had that knowledge and wisdom and experience, I could do it myself, so people could come to one place and do it.
So I'm curious because I'm picturing this, like what it would be like to be a trainer with your own gym and have a son. It's like, come on, son, we're going to teach you how to swing kettlebells today. So on the break, we were just talking about how profoundly gifted and hard work you have to be 5'6" like Spud Webb and win the dunking championship in the NBA.
Yeah, it was impressive.
I mean, you know, like they say, like wolves can like jump 8 feet straight up. You know, I mean, the guy. You know,
I'd like to see that.
Watch next week's episode where we have Doug in the pen with a wolf.
That means the wolf's got to jump higher than on top.
Yeah.
I believe, but I mean, straight up. You said, not like this.
Yeah, this special. I don't know how high the vertical jump is. I'm being a metaphorical, but wouldn't it be cool to have like a wolf whose name is like Pussycat? All right, I don't even remember where we did. We finish off our last guest? I don't even remember who it was. On to the next one.
Jeremy Spain, who we both know well.
Yeah, we both know well. So an update, when we left off the episode, Jeremy had been working on becoming a priest in the Anglican Church and getting ordained as a priest in the diocese that serves the military, and had applied for the Army, and he was waiting to hear back on all these things. Well, he did get ordained as a priest. He did get accepted into the Army. He did go to his leadership boot camp in North Carolina, South Carolina, somewhere over there.
He was no, I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I can. And he was assigned to the 101 Airborne
in Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yes, and so you know, he thought he was going to get a cake rotation, and now he's jumping out of perfectly safe helicopters onto the rope and sliding down.
Does he have to do that? Jump out of?
Well, they've
making him airborne.
Of course, in combat, the chaplains are not allowed to carry firearms, and they have a bodyguard. Yes.
So I don't think he's going to be jumping out of a hill.
No, he'll do the training. He just
does the training.
And apparently, I just learned this. If you're a chaplain and you're doing the training, you get a special exemption to be able to carry the weapon for training, but not when you go back into your service. Only the training portion.
Only the training, yeah.
And then he's found out that his bodyguard is an African American female track star. I love it because he better keep his eyes open, because if she says I'm running over here for cover, she's gonna get there a lot faster than he is.
He better start sprinting before she does.
I love it.
She's gonna run right by him.
Yeah, but so anyways, congratulations to Jeremy. He completed boot camp. I don't know if he once he goes to the 101. Apparently, I guess he becomes a second lieutenant or something like that. I don't know.
That's the lowest
so
officer, right?
No. Then the first lieutenant. He goes.
Oh, okay,
he goes
then
up
that's
one.
an 02.
I don't know how fast he becomes captain, but it's a relatively faster path. But so congratulations to him and his family, and
they
all
like
moved.
the chaplains to be a captain at least, because I mean what they do is communicate with a lot of people. They should be at least a captain rank.
Yeah.
A lot of them are majors and lieutenant colonels.
Sure. Here's a taste of that episode. Jeremy Spain, thank you for joining us. I know that you were a Navy man. When did you join the Navy?
Yeah. Just to say too, my pleasure to be here, Peter and Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me to be on the show.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so when I joined the Navy, that was back in 2001, August of 2001, right before September 11th. So, again, I was a month into boot camp when September 11th hit, and we thought it was really just like a psychological thing, like they were playing games with our minds, oh, this can't be real, like somebody would not fly a plane into
World
Trade Centers, right? Because we didn't get to see videos of it. We didn't get to see the newspapers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that sounds like it was a pretty profound time. You'd done like a year of college before you joined the Navy, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I did a year of college at the University of South Dakota, joined a fraternity, I did that thing for a year and just kind of got bored with that. And
Was that a productive time for you in your life?
productive in drinking.
Yeah.
Partying,
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't very productive in getting good grades and knowing what direction I wanted to go. But yeah, I joined the Navy because I had met my cousin. Me and him had started hanging out that summer a lot. I didn't meet him, but we just started hanging out a lot. And he was going into the Army, and I was in JROTC in high school, and I'm like, oh man, you know, I really started thinking again about joining the military, and I wanted to serve my country, come from a family that has served their country, and so and I wanted to see the world, you know, South Dakota. I mean, not much there.
Isn't Mount Rushmore in South
That's
Dakota?
the only thing there. Yeah. Mount Rushmore and corn.
And corn.
The Black Hills.
The Black Hills. I mean, nothing compares to the Black Hills. But I wanted to see the world, so that's one of the reasons I joined the Navy, was so I could go out and see the various countries and
was there ever a sense at the time of man, my life isn't going so well, maybe I ought to see if the military can give me structure? Did you have any thoughts like that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I had any structure. It was really just selfish. Like, I want to see the world. I want to go to Japan. I want to hit up these different ports in different places, go to Australia, you know.
Sure.
Things like that, but not really structure. No, so, I didn't seek the structure.
Was there ever a time like you were facing a judge in a criminal court case where you're saying, "Young man, you can go to jail or the Navy"?
Nope.
No. Nothing like that.
Nothing like that. No, I didn't get in trouble really as a kid.
No, I guess I haven't done that since Vietnam. Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll get back to our guest in just a moment. But
do you have a story to tell?
Would you, yes you, like to be a guest on The Third Chair?
Send us an email and tell us about yourself and your story.
And please follow us on social media.
Now back to the episode.
Good night from 2 Men and a Duck Entertainment and The Third Chair. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell icon so you can be informed when we post more totally awesome video.
Want to be a guest? Want to sponsor our show? Send us an email. Please subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media.